From Derby Station, only a handful of soccer fans board the train to London, and many of those support other sides. The Derby chairman asked his fans not to travel to Chelsea. In fact, he'd welcome a ban on away support altogether. These two Derby supporters don't agree.
What do you think about the idea of banning fans from going to away matches altogether?
I don't know, it would certainly stop the troubles, but it would reduce my sort of football time watching Derby to about 50%, so I wouldn't agree with it.
I think it's being a bit daft really, because there's going to be people go anyway. I mean, the real loyal supporters go everywhere, home, away, no matter where it is, they'll still go. But the hooligans might not go. The hooligans probably stay at home, because the coaches have stopped.
Were you at the Chelsea game, the last one?
Yeah.
How far do you think Derby County was to blame for the trouble like that?
They weren't at all. It was just the Chelsea fans. I mean, they started throwing seats onto their own supporters. There was no Derby fans there at all. It was just a few Chelsea fans up in the Leeds stand. But I don't think there's any trouble there.
Well, do you think the Chelsea fans are a sort of different breed from the Derby fans?
Yeah, I think they're animals. Most of them. I mean, they don't come to the game at all. It's just for to get fights afterwards.
Back at Chelsea, the club is testing its latest anti-hooligan device, video cameras linked to a recorder, a system which costs £25,000.
Well, we have two cameras, one of which is mounted over in the shed and one which is on the west stand. Those two cameras between them can monitor every part of the ground. They have a zoom lens and they're strong enough to pick out the pimples on somebody's nose on the other side of the ground.
But that's not going to stop trouble if it starts, is it?
It isn't going to stop trouble, but it enables you to record the trouble so you can go for the offenders, whereas at the moment it's very difficult to pick out offenders in a crowd.
2:30 and the Chelsea fans arrive at the ground. For the police, it's a tense time. Their job is to identify visiting supporters and shepherd them into a separate terrace at the north end of the ground.
Well, I think successful policing of any football match is based on segregation. And if you can keep rival supporters apart before, during and after a match, you will not usually have any trouble. And that's the whole premise on which a police operation at a match like this is based.
Next season, Chelsea plans to go even further by segregating fans into 7 separate areas. One for pensioners, another for young children, another for season ticket holders and so on. But always trying to keep the troublemakers as far apart as possible. When the match starts, only 50 Derby supporters can be seen on the North Terrace. They have plenty to cheer about. Their side won 3-1, the team's first away win this season. But the club chairman would rather they hadn't come. He'd like every game to be played before an audience of home supporters only.
What I would personally like to do next year to overcome it is to have a complete identity card system that allows your own fans only into a game. I know fans in Derby would love, but that again presents its own problems, because if you are a police force and you are suddenly presented with 500 people who come up to the ground and say, we are from wherever, the team that you're playing, and we are going to go into your ground, or we're going to do damage, what do the police do?
So it's
Where is the situation?
Your idea, isn't it?
I'm not saying it's impractical, it all depends on whether we want to let mob rule run this country.
The Chelsea approach is not to exclude fans, but to control them. Already the video system has helped identify 6 troublemakers, and the police have ejected them. But in future, the video cameras could be used in a more radical way.
What's revolutionary about this new technology isn't the video itself, because that's been around for a long time, but the use that Chelsea are going to make of it. Because what they plan is civil as well as criminal proceedings against soccer thugs. That would involve court injunctions against thugs to stop them coming into the ground. Now, if they were seen on the video the following week, that would mean they'd be in breach of that injunction, and they could be fined or even imprisoned.
20-5, the game is over, and the disappointed Chelsea fans leave for home. The Derby supporters are kept back by the police for 15 minutes in the hope that the streets will have cleared to allow them safe passage. But half an hour after the game has ended, out of sight of our cameras, 20 Chelsea supporters are waiting in ambush. As I made my way home, I found myself in the centre of a bottle-throwing fight between rival fans. The club had done its best to keep them apart, but as usual, the hooligans had the last word. Chelsea's chairman knows he can only do so much.
And I think this is an evil that we've got to fight. We've got to fight it in the schools, in the home, where a lot of the trouble comes from, on the streets, in the football grounds, and in the magistrates' courts.